Now it integrates your work email so you can be hooked up to everything you need to do. Now it does 1 GHz speed on a more intuitive keyboard. Turning you into an instrument of efficiency. Introducing the new Droid 2. Introducing Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself. Droid. Does your phone do searches? Does your phone do searches, for example, the word human? Does your phone do searches for human on the web? And Google Maps for places named human? Your contacts for any friends named human? Which would be weird if you had one. Even your music for songs you forgot you downloaded? Droid does. Search all digital creation. In a world of doesn't. Droid.
The future of the internet is BrainNet. Robots are getting smarter and smarter. This is going to affect everything. Already we can record memories. I have a book, The Future of the Mind, where I detail some of these breakthroughs. We can now record simple memories of mice and send these memories on the internet. Eventually, we're going to do this with primates, and then after that, we'll have a memory chip for Alzheimer's patients. We'll test it out in Alzheimer's patients because, of course, when Alzheimer's patients lose their memory, they wander. They create all sorts of havoc, wandering around, oblivious to their surroundings. And they'll have a chip. They'll push the button and memories will come flooding into their hippocampus and the chip, telling them where they live and who they are. And so a memory chip is definitely in the cards. And I think this will eventually affect human civilization. What is the future of the internet? The future of the internet is BrainNet. BrainNet is when we send emotions, feelings, sensations on the internet, and we will telepathically communicate with other humans this way. This is going to affect everything. Look at entertainment. Remember the silent movies? Charlie Chaplin was very famous during the era of silent movies, but when the talkies came in, nobody wanted to see Charlie Chaplin anymore because he never talked in the movies. And so a whole generation of actors lost their job, and a new series of actors came in. Next, we're going to have the movies replaced by BrainNet, because in the future, people will say, who wants to see a screen with images? That's it. Sound and image, that's called the movies. Yeah, our entertainment industry, this multi-billion-dollar industry, is based on screens with moving images and sound. But what happens when emotions, feelings, sensations, memories can be conveyed on the internet? It's going to change everything. Human relations will change because you'll be able to empathize and feel the suffering of other people. We'll be able to communicate telepathically, and we are eventually going to become part cybernetic and genetically enhanced. Already, robots are getting smarter and smarter. Right now, robots have the intelligence of a cockroach. But in the coming years, our robots will be as smart as a mouse. then maybe as smart as a rabbit. If we're lucky, maybe as smart as a cat or a dog. And by the end of the century, who knows for sure, our robots will be probably as smart as a monkey. Now at that point, of course, they could be dangerous. You see, monkeys are self-aware. They know they are monkeys. They may have a different agenda than us. While dogs are confused. You see, dogs think that we are a dog, that we're the top dog. They're the underdog. That's why they whimper and follow us and lick us all the time. We're the top dog. Monkeys have no illusion at all. They know we are not monkeys. And so I think that in the future, we'll have to put a chip in their brain to shut them off once our robots have murderous thoughts. But that's in 100 years. In 200 years, the robots will be smart enough to remove that fail-safe chip in their brain. And then, watch out. At that point, I think rather than compete with our robots, we should merge with them. We should become part cybernetic.
Nanotechnology comprises science, engineering, and technology conducted at the nanoscale. And we are more advanced at it than you think. For example, researchers from the Max Planck Institute have been experimenting with exceptionally micro-sized, smaller than a millimeter robots that literally swim through your bodily fluids and could be used to deliver drugs in a highly targeted way. These scallop-like microbots are designed to swim through non-Newtonian fluids like your bloodstream, around your lymphatic system, or across the slippery goo on the surface of your eyeballs. And as this technology will get more advanced, it has the possibility to turn healthcare upside down. Let's take a look at a few more examples how. Nanotechnology has the potential to revolutionize the way we collect medical data. With nano-sized diagnostic devices throughout our bodies, we'll be able to detect chemical changes on the spot. These devices could be programmed into gathering information about certain body parts, levels of toxins and other substances, and report back to medical professionals or to its hosts. In the future, it might become a reality that a nanorobot sends alerts to your smartphone about the changes it detects. This allows for detection of diseases and real-time tracking of a patient's health status. Imagine programmable nanoparticles which could help tackle the day-to-day miseries of chronic conditions like diabetes. For example, they could deliver insulin to initiate cell growth and regenerate tissue at a target location. They could also be programmed to bring certain substances to cells or could be injected into the bloodstream to seek out and remove damaged cells or grow new cells. The traditional method for curing cancer is chemotherapy. That's usually described as a carpet bombing of the body. In many cases it kills the cancer cell, but it has also a side effect of killing regular cells, which makes patients extremely sick and susceptible to other conditions. But programmable nanoparticles that attack cancer cells directly without damaging other tissues could mean a revolution in cancer treatment. It's more like a Tomahawk precision missile. It would be an amazing addition to our arsenal against cancer. Nanotechnology has made it possible for researchers to collect in-depth data on the human brain. By using nanoscale diamond particles, the brain's activities are converted into frequencies of light that can be registered by external sensors, allowing researchers to study the brain in much greater detail. With a microscopic size of just a billionth of a millimeter, nanoparticles are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and access the brain's remote areas. They have also shown tremendous potential in being a useful alternative.
Nanoparticles are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and
with a microscopic size of just a billionth of a millimeter, nanoparticles are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and access the brain's remote areas. They have also shown tremendous potential in being a useful alternative to diagnosing and treating neurological diseases. According to optimistic futurists, nanomedicines, like smart drugs, will lead to the prevention of illnesses, even aging, making us superhuman. But it's time for the medical community, regulators, and the public to start to catch up, because the nano-future is upon us.
So that you can just pick it up as a story And this is something that occurred in my life a number of times, that actually topics popped up and forced me to deal with them. And with the Black Goo topic, it was kind of the same. It started with an invitation of a not so close friend who just phoned me up and told me, Harold, I need to show you a documentary. And he was persisting. I didn't feel like I was not interested in the topic, but he made me come to his place at a certain time, and he showed me a documentary he just found on YouTube about the real cause or reason behind the Falkland Wars, when Britain went to war against Argentina to reconquer the Falkland Islands. And this was about just, meddling around with the little islands in the official press, and there was a behind story telling about a Black Goo reservoir being on Tula Island, one of the southern little islands, that was basically a substance that was sold on the Southern American black market because it was meant to have the ability to host intelligence, like a liquid brain being able to build nanobots with swarm intelligence and all kind of weird things. So this was a very wanted substance, and the British people wanted to have this substance for themselves, so they reconquered the islands, brought the substance to Great Britain, and then tried to utilize it as, let's say, a substance to host artificial intelligence, to create nanobots with swarm intelligence. This was their intention, but it completely went wrong, according to this documentary. And basically the substance of the oil already was intelligent, and it was inhabited by a very loving being calling herself Mother Earth, and she refused to be abused for military purposes. And while trying to still work with this sentient oil, the mindset of the people working with it was messed up. So basically, the documentary said that half of the people working in these military labs went nuts and committed suicide in very cruel and or funny ways. And the other half kind of saved their own lives by finding to affirmation saying, please connect me to the one source, which gave them access to the collective consciousness of the planet. Being one with all plants, being one with all animals, being one with all humans, being able to communicate with every living being on telepathic level. And of course, after having reached this state, there was no sense in developing weapons to control or to go to war anymore. So they had to shut down the labs where they tried to utilize this substance. And that was basically the end of the story told in this documentary. This is like, you look at a story, it did not relate to my life back then. I was not further interested in the topic, so I just kind of stored it in the back of my head as something that came across my path. And back at that time, I actually was researching other things. I was researching the Morgellons disease, which is a transhumanistic technology developed by the elites to mind control basically every single human that is infected with this little fungi fibers or mycelium. And I was suspecting the Morgellon entity being part of German World War II bioweapon research. So I got in contact with people who not did the official history bit that is taught about World War II, but that did research underground facilities of World War II times, that went into the mines, into the bunkers, and had one-to-one contact with the equipment and the content of these facilities. And I met some of these people just to ask them whether they came across Morgellon research in World War II. And sad enough, they did not. I never got answers to those questions I had, but on one of these meetings, one of these guys doing this research just went to his car and came back with a box. And what he brought back was this. And he said this is some oil schist he recovered from underground facilities. There was about a ton of this. And he found it to be an interesting mineral. He didn't know what it is. And he said, actually, we managed to follow instructions we found to extract the oil from this oil schist. And it behaves funny. So what he found, you can see how it is forming a kind of liquid crystal. It is very fluent, but it self-organizes, and it's forming kind of the shape of an insect eye. Completely symmetrical. And something that happened on that first meeting, this is kind of the second meeting, he had only one of these glasses. With the first meeting, he had two of these plastic containers with two eyes of this kind, and he demonstrated how if you put the two eyes in a distance of 4 to 5 meters, they started to react on each other, which went like the two eyes looking at each other first, then realizing, okay, there's something of my sort, and I want to unify to one bigger entity. And they started to pull, trying to get closer to each other, which did not work because they were caught in these containers. So the moment they realized they cannot come closer, they started to fight to try to get out of the pot by shaking and jumping inside the pots. So this had something of an intelligent being in a liquid form trying to get what it wants to get.